Hello and welcome to Kerbal, which I haven't played much of in a while and certainly haven't streamed in a while. But I have been playing a little bit of a modded build that I've done, and it's a whole bunch of the usual parts mods and whatever, but there's also a rescale mod in there as well. So we're going to load this up and yeah, you'll see exactly how far I've gotten so far. So when I say rescale mod, basically it's taking the default Kerbin scale, which is I think a tenth. Is it like a tenth of the size of the real solar system? It's something like that. It's really scaled down compared to real life. And it's actually like, I think it is 10. I think you have to, it's like 10 point something X to yeah, Sam was on camera for about 3 seconds there. Yeah, it's like 10 times X to get real scale, and there's literally real scale mods that give planet Earth instead of the fictional Kerbin. But in this case, it's 3.2X, which is basically the outer limit of scale that you can get away with in terms of still using stock parts before you start having to add part rebalancing mods as well, and having to make up your own custom configs for mods that don't necessarily have pre-built part scaling or are specifically designed for rescaled systems. Because there are mods that, like the real scale is like a whole thing unto itself, and it's usually paired with real fuels and other realism mods. So you can really go all in and make KSP quite, well, I say quite accurate, relatively accurate to real life. Not 100% accurate because it's still a video game, but a heck of a lot more accurate than the base game anyway. So how is everybody? Who have we got? Peter Slack, Relaxed, Atinius, Fruit Happier, Ginge. Yeah, he's in a box at the moment. I did try putting some treats on the bed for him, which just before the stream started, which is why he was there. And now he's in a box and trying to stick his head in places he probably shouldn't. Are you going to be a cat? Yeah, I know. Are you going to be a cat that's... Are you going to be a helpful cat, or are you going to be a pain in the ass cat? I think he's going to be a pain in the ass cat this evening. We'll see if he settles down in a bit. But yeah, there might be some of me shouting at him at some point. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime sub there, Mr. Fruit Happier. So, like I said, this is modded. Even just looking at the thing, you can see how much further away it is from the ocean than normal. This whole starting area feels so much bigger. I've also got a mod, I can't remember what it's called now exactly, but one that changes the planet textures as well. But it's a little bit glitchy. It's not really designed for being for larger scale planets. So, yeah. So what was I doing? Oh yeah, so this is really how far I've gotten in the tech tree. Again, modded. It's the community tech tree, but there's another mod that removes all the empty nodes. So we've gotten kind of, like, we're getting into the kind of basic stuff, but I haven't upgraded it yet. So this is the highest limit of text that I can unlock before I need to spend money to upgrade the R&D lab. I've upgraded some things. I've upgraded the VAB, so we no longer have that initial very harsh part limitation. I think I've upgraded the runway. Yeah, I've done, yeah, runway upgrade level 2, launchpad is level 2, tracking station level 2, admin's level 1, astronaut complex level 2. That one I did relatively soon, so you can do EVAs, because you can't do EVAs before that point. So, yeah, and there's a couple of craft up already, mainly satellites. Now, I have done some crewed flights, but not very many. And most of what's up here at the moment is unmanned satellites. But we do have one crew rescue contract that's probably the first thing I'll do, actually. I've also got in orbit, it looks, it's got the symbol of a crew pod, but this is actually an unmanned docking vehicle, which I think I put up one picture on Twitter which was from that mission, but it wasn't necessarily the actual dock itself. But it's supposed to be like an Agena target vehicle, basically. And it was my first orbital docking experience, which I was incredibly rusty at. It took me far longer to do it than it should have done, but I got there in the end, and this thing's still floating up here. I think there's actually a contract to put this into a higher orbit as well, but I think I need to send some more fuel up to it first. So let's go to the Space Center. Sadly, I don't think you can rename Kerbals. You can create Kerbals through the cheat menu and give them custom names, but you can't rename existing Kerbals unless there's a mod for that somewhere. I don't know. So I'll take a quick rundown of the craft I've built. In terms of space plane hangar stuff, it's not much. We've got one early jet, which is actually, I think there's something wrong with it, because I think there's a bug or an incompatibility with one of the mods going on, because one of the things you're supposed to be able to do with all cockpits that are manned cockpits is produce a crew report. And they've actually got a mission at the moment to take a crew report, and it's all below X thousand meters, because we really can't get to particularly high altitudes yet with the basic jet technology I've got. It's quite a stubby little plane as well. But for some reason, and I've tried this multiple times now, and I don't know if it's just this cockpit or if it's I need to rebuild this plane and maybe try it with the inline cockpit instead. Because when I fly over the areas where I need to do a crew report, the crew report button vanishes. It just straight up vanishes out of the right click menu. So I then cannot do the crew reports. So it's a little bit frustrating, but yeah, that's really my only plane so far. And I also oh yeah, that's because I put that part in and then took it out again, isn't it? I also had to go at making a little science buggy, but it really didn't work very well, because however I've spliced it, I cannot get, I even tried to stick an inflatable airlock on there. For some reason the crew just cannot get out of this capsule. It keeps saying the exit is blocked, even though it shouldn't be, so I don't know what's going on there. So again, we have to rebuild that at some point. And then in terms of rockets, I've actually built a few different designs. Now there are mods, like I said, realism mods that really they make you wait while the rocket's being built. And I'm not doing quite that much, but yeah, you have to prototype parts, and you can upgrade parts so they have better capabilities and that. I kind of found out after I'd started this playthrough, so I might have even tried installing one of them, but I don't know if that's kind of exclusively meant to be paired with kind of real scale rather than lower scales. But anyway, it's a nice idea anyway. But I think there might be multiple mods that do that. So yeah, I've got some basic launch systems. So these are just kind of like basic satellite launchers. There's a slightly more powerful one. This was the launcher for the satellite, the target docking vehicle. I said that in a very elegant way there. We have got some basically sounding rockets, because you actually start off with sounding rocket parts. So there's various different types of sounding rockets, and then we've got our first crewed ships, which include this very basic looking suborbital hopper. This one is, I think, the one we'll be sending up next. This is a single capsule that's capable of getting to orbit, and you might think that's quite a lot for getting to orbit. It does have a little more than is required for just getting to orbit, but this is what I'll be using for doing that that rescue flight, so it will have enough delta V left for that, hopefully. But this illustrates that using completely stock parts, or stock balancing for stock parts, how much bigger your rockets need to be just to do simple things like getting to orbit, because it's around 6.5, it's 6 to 6,500 meters a second delta V that you need. So yeah, there's that, and then this was I don't know if this would get to orbit actually, but this is a 2 crew capsule. I think it was initially a suborbital test. I think in theory this should get to orbit. And then there's kind of a beefier version of that with a different 2-person capsule, which would definitely get to orbit. So yeah, and that's basically it so far. So yeah, we're going to fly one of these, and we're going to have a go at rescuing this Kerbal, just because that's probably the simplest thing I can do to start this stream off with. I have to make sure we don't have anyone in there either, because there's only room for 1 person in it, so we're going to have to fly this remotely. And we do have some restrictions, like it's limited probe control when there's no crew on board. It's not no probe control, because you can set it to that. And the other major restriction I've got is I'm using a life support mod. So if I was sending it up and taking a really long time to rendezvous with the capsule that's up there, there's a chance that, if there was someone in there already, they would just suffocate, because this doesn't have any extra life support attached to it. It's just the life support that's in the capsule itself. Ralak, by the way, thank you very much for that gift sub to Ginge. I'm sure I'll appreciate the ability to use cat emotes for a month. So I'll turn on SAS, and I will be using some features of MechJeb just because now I have them unlocked. As this is a career mode, it doesn't unlock everything all at once in a career mode. You can go in and edit config files and make it so it does, but there are certain, like once you get the maneuver planner unlocked, it makes some things much less of a hassle, even just taking off. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off, and we're going to have to... Oh, it's quite far out, isn't it? Where did he go? There's the ATV. Oh, there it is. So it's actually beyond the orbit of the Mun. So we'll see if I've got enough. I don't actually know for sure. This might mean me going, reverting the launch and going, right, I'm going to need more Delta V, and I'm going to need more life support to bring this guy back. We're going to just see if this will do the job, basically, and if not, I'll know for sure that I need something a bit beefier. It's also, he's decided a box on the table is where he wants to be at the moment. Hang on, I'll see if I can bring the box over like I did last time. Come on, cat. There you go. He's very spoiled. He's got at least 3 boxes in this room. And there's another big box out in the hallway that he has as a little cat fort. Did I disturb His Royal Highness, His Majesty? Oh dear. He has to think about whether he's going to forgive me for that or not. Also, if you sit in the box, Sam, the top of your head gets cut off, which looks very... Anyway. I haven't actually tried it with catnip yet. That would actually possibly make for some hilarious video. Right, let's get this sucker launched then. I probably could... Like, these are extremely toned down in terms of their throttle. They're at something like 25%, 20%. Because otherwise this thing comes off the pad with a ridiculous TWR. So I probably could have put less powerful boosters on, or maybe I could probably even with this design get away with putting extra fuel up here if need be. So I can probably just modify this design. and it would be okay, hopefully. But we'll see. How are the relative noise levels, by the way? You can already see this thing's already, like, the fact that we have this kind of shock effect tells you this thing has absolutely got more than enough thrust. Okay, a little bit of catnip then. Just a little bit. So our magic number is 98 kilometers. That's where space is. So we're actually almost... Like, this thing shoots up so fast. By the time we're out of the thicker bit of atmosphere and we can actually start making more dramatic turns, we're basically already sitting at 98 kilometers on our Apple axis. Oh, also I could have dropped those already, and I didn't. That's me not paying attention. But we'll boost 110. There we go. And then what I can quite easily do, instead of doing a mad dash to this screen and hastily trying to create a node, is I can just create a node to circularize, and it will even then do it at the right time. Because what KSP doesn't do, I mean, there might be mods that show you a more accurate timer, but when you're still in the atmosphere versus when you're out of the atmosphere, it gives you different burn times. And it can be, and this is up until having this unlocked, it's been a really tricky thing to do, is know exactly when to properly start my orbital burn, because sometimes you need to start it while you're still inside the atmosphere, because this is going, oh no, you should have started it like 30 seconds ago. But should I have though? Or is that just it thinking it because I'm still inside the atmosphere and the engines have a different rating? So we've actually now popped out, and it's still saying, oh, minus. So it's taking too long to orient itself. So this is going to be a bit of a shonky orbit, but we'll see how it works out. I've actually got a little bit of RCS control on this, so I should have enabled RCS earlier. It's not a huge amount of RCS fuel that we carry, but you know, it's enough for pointing it down quicker. So we'll see how this ends up doing us. We should have about 800-ish meters per second. Unless I completely cock up the orbiting, or you know, that 15 seconds turns out to be extremely important, which hopefully it won't be. Hopefully it'll still keep me out of the top of the atmosphere with having given it that bit of extra. Yeah, and this is certainly not the most efficient way I could have launched this. It's just kind of the peculiarities of this vehicle that it comes off the pad so fast and accelerates so fast. I should just swap out for different SRBs, or else just add more fuel to the top of it. International Cap Booster Module. Right, we are out of fuel, so we're on to now our final stage.
So be it.
Brett
Jedi.
50. Good call on avoiding warships. Yeah, I'm kind of... I've spec'd a couple of captains and I've been playing around with it a little bit. And in some ways I like the idea of what they've done, but some of the specifics are very dicey, and that one battleship captain skill is just... What were they thinking? It's just a broken-ass skill. I really can't see any good reason for that skill being in the game. As if we needed even more backline battleship snipers, but apparently Wargaming thought so. Raiders, thank you very much for saying good evening, Jedi. I don't know why I said it like that. It's my instinct to say, you know, thing that I say when I'm saying to someone that's subscribing or whatever. Right, we have cocked this up. I think we're going to have to... yeah. We'll have to revert to... completely cocked that up. Completely cocked that up. Why didn't they just announce that, you know, they were going to give all battleships Slava dispersion? Can you tell I'm a bit rusty at this game? Because I am definitely a bit rusty at this game. But let's try that again. Actually, maybe if I throttle down and just let the boosters take us off the... Oh, that's too much. Let the boosters take us off the pad. And then we can go back to max up. Max up throttle is the technical term when the SRBs run out. Yeah. There's a real mix of rocket parts in here. There's I think Blue Dog Design Bureau is one of the big ones, which actually comes with parts contracts as well, or contracts kind of baked into it. So that kind of mimics some of the real life space race goals. But there's also, I've got like a British rocket parts pack, and there's some kind of non-historical based parts packs in there as well. Right, so let's full boost on the main engines and ditch the SRBs correctly this time. We'll try for a bit of a more efficient launch. See how that goes. Yeah, and if you didn't know, we had a space program, or at least a rocketry program, in the 50s, coming out of the Second World War, and partly it was we were interested, much like the Americans and the Russians, in what the Germans had been doing with V2s and rockets generally. And it's right as we were thinking, maybe we should have some ICBMs, as everyone else is researching and you know, building early ICBMs, and so we did. And then the government of the day basically decided to can the whole thing for budgetary reasons. So yeah, we developed stuff partly for building, you know, nuclear missiles, but it was also being used for some kind of more civil experimental stuff. So we are the only nation in the world today that has developed, you know, a working rocketry program and then just scrapped the whole thing, basically. So yeah, the two names of the rocket parts I particularly remember, or the rocket program itself was called like Black Arrow, I think, and there were Gamma rockets, and there was also the Stentor rocket engine was the other main one that was developed. Right, so we'll create node, we'll turn on RCS this time, so we've got the RCS thrusters helping us turn the rocket. And this is looking like, is it going to be a bit more efficient? I think a little bit, in theory. It's not started burning yet, so MechJeb is being a bit smarter about it than the display here. Hopefully. So we're about to go into... There we go. So actually just at the point where we... Oh. Okay, that should have automatically done it, but for some reason it didn't. But it at least pointed me in the right direction. I'm not sure why... No? Oh. Okay. Whatever. It was a little bit hinky there, but never mind. So there you go. I think that ranks up there with just giving jet technology to the Soviet Union as a freebie. It's one of those very daft British things we did in the mid-century. Oh, we didn't intend to give it to them as a freebie. It's just, you know, we did anyway. I'm sure part of it, Ralak, was some dreadful notion of prestige. Because we so desperately wanted to become a nuclear power. In fact, it was the haste with which we were doing things that actually led to the wind scale disaster. Because we decided we were going to do things as quickly as possible, which meant some slight safety corners were cut, which is not really what you want when you're talking about nuclear programs. Right, there we go. I was a little too slow with a cut-off there, but never mind. So actually that's about the same amount of delta V I thought I would have had. Right, so we just have to see if this is feasible. And wow, because of the inclination that thing is at, wow, that's going to be okay. This is absolutely going to require a heavier rocket with more fuel. Even just matching the inclination, I suspect, is going to be match planes with the target. That's what we want. Yeah, close in matching planes is going to be tricky. Okay, so this rocket is not going to work. This is absolutely not going to work. This works for close orbit rescues, but it absolutely doesn't for okay, so this we're just calling this you know, a computer test to see if this design would work, which clearly it will not. So we're going to need a bigger rocket for that. I'll also have a quick look at what other contracts I've got at the moment. We do have a build a space station, but I think that's going to be a bit more complicated. We've got some MUN-based contracts also, including Orbit the MUN, which I think I'll try and do with an unmanned satellite first. It feels a bit more sensible to do it that way than trying to immediately go for a manned flight around the MUN. Right, so how do I want to do this? Do I just make this rocket beefier? I think that might be the thing to do. Yeah, there we go, 25%. So if I up all that all the way, it goes to a completely ridiculous TWR. This thing would shoot off the launch pad like nobody's business. So we need probably much more fuel. 2.7. Heck, maybe in one of those big fuel tanks. How much does that hold? 270. Right, so one of those is actually, I think, a single part is holding more fuel than, yeah, so how's that look? Right, that puts more than 3,500 meters a second delta V into that top thing, but how much of that is going to be spent kind of getting into orbit? Right, the main downside of having all these different part packs is finding ones that are the right, because there's different sizings going on. Some of them are listed in, you know, like X meters, and others are like size 1, size 0, size 2, and they're all at slightly different scales. Right, that's 4.3k. That's quite a bonkers amount, all things considered. Don't know what the launch characteristics of this would be like, though. Right, we'll save this as a variant. to make sure I have saved that as a separate. It's really even not that much more expensive than the original variant, just because, or the original version, just because it's extra fuel tanks essentially. I've got to put on the launch tower. Yeah, well, it depends. It's sometimes you need to rescale things because they get a bit awkward in terms of, especially with the rocket motors. But these are 1.25 tanks, and then you've got things that are right. These are the British tank parts. So that's size 1.5. Which is clearly not 1.5 meters. So that's a size 0 tank, which is kind of really skinny. So yeah, it gets a little bit confusing. These are the British engines, by the way. The where are we? There is a single Gamma engine, I think. I don't know. So Gamma 2, Gamma 4, which is obviously 4 of them. And then there's the Gamma 8, and that's the Gamma 301, which I think was the most advanced version. And then it's also got the Stentor rocket engine here somewhere as well, which does not gimbal, so I haven't used it very much, but it's somewhere. But even already, look at how many rocket engines and SRBs I've got unlocked. Some of the parts are 0.925 as well, just to compound the, like just under 1 meter. So, yeah. Right, this is a lot more in the upper stage, but I think we'd probably use a lot more of that upper stage actually getting to orbit. So, I don't know, do I want to slip an extra fuel tank in here maybe as well? Let's see, was it one of these ones? What tank is that one? So apparently I've got that one unlocked, I'm not sure where it is. It's a problem with so many parts, Tantaris. The fact that some of them are, you know, similar sizes but carry different amounts of fuel. Is it that one? No, that's a tiddly one. Hang on, let's actually use the search bar, that would tell me. Oop. I can spell. Right, yeah, these aren't fuel tanks though. Where are the fuel tanks? Oh, there it is. So if I swap out that one for another one of these, and this is going to end up being a very tall rocket. Well, taller than anything I've built so far anyway. Right, will this have enough? I'm not entirely sure. I'm actually maybe even going to stick on some extra life support as well, honestly. I'll take the general purpose life support hex can, which I think is not too heavy. I could cheat a bit and slightly merge it inside as well. Just so it looks nicer. Don't think that affects the aerodynamics particularly. So that would give it more than enough, I think. Although, do we also need a waste container? Hang on, where are the... Oh, we could put the small ones on the nose, actually. That would then put them in line. That would be neater than the hex cans. Probably a bit heavier, though. Yeah, so that's a bit of extra weight on the nose, but that's fine. More boosters! Indeed. Where's the... I was actually going to move a thing on this. Oh, yes, it was this thing. Which is a little fold-out light that you can get that just to illuminate where the hatch is, because it's not super obvious. Right, I think that's everything. Maybe change the paint job on that. So that's fine. And that's hopefully a good chunk more Delta V. I might actually have to... Do I want to tune those down even further? Or do I maybe even want bigger SRBs on this thing now that we've added so much more extra fuel? Hang on, give me a second. Let's see if we can put something on here that's going to give this a TWR of over 1 by the time those second engines, or by the time we actually have the solid fuel boosters separate. I wish there was a separate solid fuel booster category, actually. We can filter by resource, I suppose. Which, as you can see, there are quite a few oxygen solid fuel. There we go. I don't think I've even unlocked struts yet. Right, those are quite chunky ones. Those are probably... Oh, I have even bigger ones than that available. I've just not purchased them yet. I have enabled purchase price. They're not just... Gosh, some of these SLPs are actually very, very chunky. Right, some of these are very tiddly little ones just for separation and whatnot. More retro rockets. Right, I guess it'll be one of these ones down here. So, was that what I was using? Let's unlock these ones, see what 4 of those would do. Hopefully those are actually on the... that looks very crowded on this now quite skinny in comparison fuel tank. Right, so that would take me up to over 9,000 meters a second Delta V. Now what I can do is I can scale these down slightly. I think these are going to be a bit too overpowered. So I can scale those down to 1.5 meters. And thrust limiter. I don't want to too much. What's the 1.875? Gosh, those have a very long burn time. Right, I don't know if we can get it so that they burn long enough to give the main rocket a TWR of over 1 without making this a very slow lift off from the pad. We've set that about 60%. We'll try this. And we'll want some nose caps for those as well. Do I even have fuel lines unlocked yet? I think that's the thing I was going to do. I think that's what I'm aiming for on my next... Yeah, I can't really do liquid fuel. Oh no, wait, we do have... Oh, I did just unlock them. So you know what? You're right. We could actually do that. But I also kind of just want to get this thing built and on the move. Hey, little Mark. Let's try it with this. It's a little bit of a ridiculous looking setup, to be honest. Yeah, there's a cat cam, which at the moment, well, it just looks like a pile of fluff in a box, but that's pretty much what it is. So it is an accurate representation of what Sam's doing right now. Right. Miniature rocket cone. No. That's not what we want. Is there any that are default big enough, or are we going to have to scale up a nose cone? I think we're going to have to scale up a nose cone. Oh. Oh, yeah, it's a bit unhappy about that. Oh, also, apparently there are variants. Right, yeah, let's just use those nose cones I was using before then. 0.875. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, scaling up those nose cones. Yeah, this is when you're using tweak scale. Scaling things up gets very expensive. Hang on. So something less expensive. There we go, that's better. We'll use those nose cones. Right, so, we'll see how this does. This is just basically the stretched, limo, ridiculous version looking thing of this. Right, this comfortably gets into orbit, but for rescuing a guy who's out beyond the orbit of the moon, we need something a bit more beefy. So we'll see how this goes. I think actually, having thought about that, out beyond the orbit of the moon, I think we're probably going to need more ablator on this heat shield as well. So let's increase that a bit. Right, so make sure we don't have any pilots. Let's try launching this ridiculous looking thing. How are you doing there, Sam? Did you think I might have treats for you? Poor cat. I woke you up and I didn't even have treats. I mean, that's just abject cruelty is what that is. Okay. It's a little bit wobbly. Yeah. Well, we might need some struts. A bit too jiggly there. We might need to like auto strut it or something. Yeah, it had a good old wobble around. It was very, very wobbly indeed. My staging is fine. It's the fact that these are quite heavy for the things that they're on that's causing the wobbling. Right, auto strut, root part, grandparent part. Let's have it be to that. Let's try that. Yeah, your rockets really shouldn't be wiggling around quite that much. I might have. I don't know, Cacklin. I don't. Like, my instinct is to say no, but I've seen possibly some historical footage at some point and then just not registered it. So, yeah. Right, still a bit wobbly, but less wobbly. In fact, I think what we probably could have done, in fact, we'll do that right now. I have seen the footage of the N1 rockets exploding quite spectacularly. I tell you what I have not done is what helps is putting the separators relative to the top, so that actually helps in terms of when it comes to separate, but also hopefully we'll make them a bit less inclined to wiggle all over the place madly when we're launching. The downside of that is we need to then grab a hold of those and make sure they're not buried in the ground when we're taking off. Teething problems. It's fine. It's fine. There's actually an achievement for that in the what's it called? I've forgotten already. The Mars game that I played. I keep wanting to say Surviving Mars, but no, very different game. Thingy Mars, or Mars Thingy, or whatever it was called. There's actually an achievement, a Steam achievement, for doing a moon rocket with, or a moon mission with the N1 rocket. Mars Horizon, there we go. There we go, that made all the difference. Now nice and solid. The wobble was a bit funny, and it still wants to wobble because it's a long craft when I'm turning. But I'm not turning too radically, so it should be fine. You actually bought Thingy Mars because I've just noticed that's right behind the text. That's going to make it hard to read. Yeah, it is quite fun. And I think it's got sufficient challenge that you could go back to it and try and do more optimised playthroughs. But of course, there's always that element of chance with that game as well. It's quite a big element of that game, in fact. So this is a much more stately takeoff compared to its base version of this rocket. Try turning a little bit more. It really does wobble when I do that. No, this is supposed to be... we've got an orbital rescue mission chaser. And my normal orbital rocket, because this is the 3.2x scale of Kerbin, you just need that much more delta V to get to orbit, and my normal orbital, or the vehicle I've developed so far, because this is pretty early in this career, all things considered, just does not have nearly enough oomph for the job. Right, we actually have more than enough. Ooh, there's still. I'm going to cut off the main engine, I suppose, but we still have some thrust from the SLBs. Oh, this is pushing the apoapsis out pretty far, but on the other hand, the thing the Kerbal astronaut I'm rescuing is out beyond the Mun. So, yeah. Right, oh no, match points to the target. Now we want to circularize. There we go. Create node. Execute next node. Quite a slow motion separation there. Also, I'm quite rubbish at takeoffs generally, so at the point where I unlock the technology to get the ascent guidance thing for MechJeb, you know, at that point I'll just let MechJeb take care of it. Right, so this, I mean, the base version of this had about 800 meters a second once we got to orbit. This should have about 2,500 meters of delta V, I think. Or maybe just a little bit under. Yeah, just accidentally hit the EVA button while someone's getting, you know, while someone's re-entering the atmosphere. Sure, that's definitely a thing you should do. So in order to actually do a moon landing, I'm probably going to have a proper Apollo-style mission, because in the base scale of KSP, I usually just do like a direct ascent, or whatever it's called. So the same craft that touches down on the moon and, you know, actually flies to the moon and then touches down on the moon is what takes off from there and comes back to Earth. So I'm going to have to do proper, like, capsules and things. Hell, even just doing a basic space station to orbit is probably going to take multiple launches. Right, so the ascent stage is nearly done. Then all that'll be left will be this orbital stage here. That's because he's sleeping, Tommaso. So there we go, that speeds away from us. In fact, we're even going to have more than I thought. But if I just slightly crinkle... just slightly crinkle the treats bag, that gets his attention. That really gets his attention. What, did you hear something, Samuel? I didn't hear anything. He's a very fluffy cat. He's got a big fluffy ruff. There's definitely some oddities going on with visual mods in the background there, but never mind. He's got a perfectly comfortable cushioned bed, but no, box. He has to sit in a box. Now really the smart way to do this would be to launch out the inclination needed. But, you know, I'm not that good at doing manual launches, so... Right, there we go. Alright, not quite a circular orbit, but we do have an orbit. And 2,800 meters a second of delta V. Now this is what we need to try and rescue, and if I can't do it with the tech I've got at the moment, then I might just need to leave this guy floating up here. Unfortunately for me, even though I am using life support mods, or a life support mod, that doesn't automatically apply to rescue contract capsules. It's only when you get into range of them for the first time that it suddenly kicks in. And of course, they don't have anything, so you've got literally like 3 minutes, 5 minutes to get them to the rescue craft before they die. So it makes for an interesting little timed challenge. So set as target. And if I say I want to take a transfer to that, that's saying over 3k delta V, but I don't. Okay, that's just that. That's not even to then match velocity with it. I don't think this is going to be enough. See you, Fruit Tapia? I think we need even more boosters, or else I need something I can refuel in orbit, which would require giving something a docking port. So I think we might leave that rescue contract for now, because not even this is enough. We need bigger and more, apparently. We had more Delta V left in the tank than I thought we would do, but yeah. Liquid fuel. I suppose, yeah, we could go for more efficiency. What do we think? Do you want me to see me try again rest of the chat, or do you want me to try and tackle some other contract? Because I could do either. I've not. It's been ages since I've done asparagus staging, but I think I can vaguely remember what to do. Yeah, if my inclination, yeah, but I don't. I suck at launching, and like literally just launching at 0 degrees inclination is an achievement for me. If I can manage it, if I try and go right, I'm gonna go on this inclination, even if it's at right, you know, like a polar orbit at right angles. I still find it very difficult. So, unfortunately, tricks from space. I suck a bit too much at KSP, manual launches. We could use some of the Black Arrow tanks, actually. How do they compare to these ones? Well, they are bigger tanks, so therefore more fuel. I think I vaguely remember how asparagus staging works. And actually we might maybe... Right, first off, let's have 2 of those bigger tanks rather than that smaller tank. So even more fuel in that top stage. And then I think maybe we'll have a different set of engines, because this one's all right, but it's this one here, isn't it? So that's 140 kilonewtons. So we want something beefier than that. I do now have some larger engines available. That's got some gimbal to it. And could go for some of the gamma engines on the outside, actually. If I There we go, have a variant that could fit. So we could use some British rocket engines here. And then, if I remember how this works, we need to split up that, don't we? Yeah, we need to have the opposite one stage. So with that one and oh no, that's put 3 of them there. I didn't want that. So we want these ones to stage first and then those ones to stage after. It's vaguely coming back to me, but yeah, I'm definitely still rusty at this. Right, where did those fuel lines go? There it is. External fuel duct. Oh, and then it would be that one to that one. Ah, asparagus staging! It's been so long since I've done asparagus staging. And these ones connect to the main fuel tank. Right, now the question is that enough delta V overall? I don't know, maybe we need beefier parts, or our launch TWR is not particularly spectacular there. What about the Stentor engines? They don't have gimbaling. Oh, they're a bit too big anyway. Maybe I'm going too small here. Maybe I should be using the 1.5 meter tanks for the outboard as well. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Oh, it's in quite center. Nope. Quite a lot of fuel there. Let's see how this works. There are some extra inline engines, real inline engines there. I think I've used those before. Where was the Stentor? Some of them are. Right, maybe smaller tanks than those. How's that look for thrust? So what was it? Those two first. Oh, I've got my symmetry keys now. Hang on. What did I just... Oh. There we go. Right, that is still kind of slow off the pad. Delta V looks, I don't know. Maybe an even more powerful main engine? Problem is, have we got a more powerful main engine that's at the right scale? Right, that thing is... Oh, there we go. That's 229. That's probably about as good as I'm going to get for that scale. It's that, but that's a fair bit bigger. Right, maybe some more powerful engines on the outside as well then. Heck, we could try the good old stock Reliant engines. Okay, they're not too bad. There might even be a bit more than what we need actually, if we could get something that's around 180 perhaps. It'd be nice if you could sort the engines by engine power. Well, those are around 140. There's 4 of those look like. It's actually slightly less efficient. Oh. Is that what we're looking for? I think we might just go with those actually. We can always tune them down a bit. So we're not coming off the pad quite so hot. About 70%. Right, I don't fully know how this is going to fly. Yeah, maybe. Okay, you might be right there actually. We could just have those... have some extra fuel on top. There are smaller fuel tank noses. Oh man, apparently there are a lot of parts labelled Tantares. It is one of the, you know, big parts packs, so makes sense, I suppose. Right, that's almost 9,500 Delta V. Right, cost-wise, this is actually less expensive than the version with the boosters, the SRBs. Right, will this be enough? Well, there's one way to find out. Just, good thing I caught that. You know, just check the staging. Check that that's all correct. The upper stage engine is, I think, absolutely fine. That's an LV909, which is a stock engine. It's got quite good... right, there are probably ones that have better vacuum performance in terms of efficiency, but they're also much lower thrust. So we'll stick with that. Yep, staging is fine. Oh, actually, no, staging isn't fine. Parachute should be in separate staging. Staging is fine. Oh, wait, no. Right. Just make sure we're definitely not taking off with anybody. This is supposed to be a rescue mission after all. I don't know if I'm going to do a series of this or anything, or even a couple of streams. I just felt like noodling around with something that wasn't warships. I will get my head around all the captain stuff eventually, but I have to say, just that 10% bonus accuracy realigned battleship sniper skill really makes me not want to play high tiers at all anymore. Right. Decent takeoff. A little bit of wobble from those because we didn't auto strut them, but it's fine. Not enough to be concerning. Also, that's a nice looking set of engine plumes we've got going there. Start the gravity turn a bit. The gimbal control is not fantastic. Although it's really only that central rocket engine that's gimbaled. Oh, I probably should have, but never mind. Tricks. I'm not going to pretend I'm any good at KSP. Absolutely not going to pretend I'm any good at KSP. Probably the most complicated thing I ever did in KSP was making a replica of a tank from World of Tanks and then launching it into space. I think I still have the files for that somewhere. Oh, yep, boosters out. I still have the space tog. Yeah, I basically was not finding it fun anymore. Raider. So I took the executive decision that I was going to quit playing it, and then a while after that I decided I wasn't going to do replays anymore either. Which definitely lowered the number of people watching my channel, but sometimes you just got to move on. Right, that's that stage gone, and then we've got a whole lot of time with this stage here. I hate to say it, but I don't really have a huge amount of enthusiasm for warships sometimes either. Like, not all the time, but it's a little harder than it used to be, I'll say it that way. But I've always said to myself anyway that if I ever get to the point where I got with tanks, if I get to that same stage with warships, then you know, there's no point flogging myself. I mean, maybe Chaser, yeah. Still got a fair bit of fuel, fair bit of burn time in this stage. I find I did actually do that relatively recently, Brett, and the fact that you now have the bigger ships on their own separate side of the tech tree kind of thing was nice. But I still can't get my head around how the aiming works. Could be very confusing. Right. Engine cut off, create and execute next node, and here's the RCS to push us. You've got a bit of schmutz in your fur there, Sam. What is that? Right. Oh, I just noticed that's red. That shouldn't be red. Never mind. Maybe I'm just trying to do too much with 1.5 meter tanks. Maybe I need bigger sized tanks. Maybe I should just be starting from scratch. I was thinking, oh, it'll be easy. I'll just use a vehicle I've already got, slap some extra tanks on it. It'll be fine. But, you know, 3.2 scale, kicking my ass. So. God knows how I cope with real scale. But if I was using real scale, I would at least be using a proper config that appropriately reconfigured the masses of and thrusts of various, you know, tanks and rockets. Because this is all just completely stock in that regard. All these things are configured for stock KSP. Like I said at the start, this is about the outermost limit in terms of scale as you can get away with that. Right, are we going to make it? Are we going to circularize in time? Maybe if I had pushed out a bit further. Hey, Foo. I don't think it's going to make it. I think it's going to fall back into the atmosphere. It already is in the top of the atmosphere. So, yeah. Okay, let's go for a higher apoapsis before I start trying to circularize again. Just messing around with rockets, so no special plans. I'm not sending togs into space or anything like that, but yeah, just showing what I've been doing with 3.2 scale. Right, you did suggest we could actually do that. Just a little bit of extra fuel in those asparagus stages, because why not? Nope, that was that size. Right, we're going to have to... will that be okay? That should be okay in terms of part separation. We will auto strut as well. Let's try that again. Oh, it's hard, isn't it, Samuel? It's hard being you. Right. Yeah, there we go. Auto strut really does make a difference. Barely any wobble there at all. I'll have to actually remember to pay attention to when the tanks are running out. It's so long since I've done asparagus staging. There we go, first lot away. I mean, he's a cat, Brett. That's what he does. Oh, I forgot to check the... Oh, again, never mind. I am a very inefficient rocketeer. Right. There's the next stage. And we'll definitely shoot for a much higher apoapsis this time. We can heal over a bit more as well. Right, so that's 100k, so that's now out of the atmosphere. Which is this number down here I'm reading. We'll maybe aim for about 130, 140, that kind of height. Loads of burn time left on this stage as well. A minute and a half still. Right, 140, there we go. That'll do. Right, well, actually, just throttle up a tiny bit so we're gimbaling down towards the node quicker. Just even with that bit of RCS, that control unit up there, it still takes a while to turn this rocket because it's a big long rocket. Right, we're a couple of seconds over, but at this height it shouldn't make too much difference, I hope? Question mark? We'll see. So we won't need to use too much delta V from the upper stage, it looks like. Guess we'll see whether it's enough. Man, just KSP things. An hour and a half spent trying to do a single mission. Just repeatedly back to the drawing board. Sounds about right for Kerbal Space Program, though. It's one of those games where you go, oh yeah, I'll just do that one contract, and then there you are, 2 hours later, banging your head against the desk with your third redesign. What is it, Sam? I have to say, you know, being an internet celebrity cat, it's changed him. He's so much more demanding than he was before. He doesn't bother with just the regular tins of cat food now anymore. Now it just, you know, it's tins of tuna or nothing. So that fame gone to your head, Samuel? Yeah. Right, I think we're going to keep out of the atmosphere this time at least. It's going to be a decidedly wonky orbit, but oh right, that's actually still putting us below 98 km. That's fine. Need to burn just a bit more. It's pushing my apoapsis way out, but that's alright. Right, that leaves me with 3.7k. Circularizing would be less than 100. Do I want to circularize? Would that make it easier? Or will it not really matter? Like 2900. Well, exactly, Brett. I mean, nothing less for a famous internet cat. Come on now. 3,100. Apparently circularizing would save me a bit of delta V. So let's try that. We're now quite a bit more responsive given that we've gotten rid of the big part of the rocket. I can probably turn off the RCS now as well. Even just looking at it compared to regular KSP, you can see it looks bigger. The planet just... and when you see people playing real scale, it really does look ridiculous. And then you think, oh yeah, no, that's how it really looks. It really is that big.
So be it.
Philo Farnsworth with the 15 months. Thank you very much. Where are you? You're in space. With the little green men. Right, so, yeah, orbital velocity alone over 4,000 meters a second. Part of the reason why this is so expensive is it does involve a plane change. I'll drop a quick save. And that's in about an hour. And then what we need to do is basically... Now, what I'd ordinarily do is match velocities with target, but I don't know if I'll have enough delta V for that, so it might be a very hasty hopping out between the two capsules. Well, indeed, Fu. You have to go a long way to get your stuff back. No CVs in space, not that I know of. So let's turn the lights on while we're on the dark side. Wait, has that got built-in lights? That does have built-in lights. I never noticed that before. This is actually, this part's placed upside down because this part also acts as a separator. But it separates what's below it. So if you have it turned the right way up, it would drop this stack. I discovered this the first time I put this thing up. It dropped this, and then the heat shield, which was here, this thing had to burn away in the atmosphere before the heat shield was exposed. So I have to literally turn this upside down in order to use it properly as a separator. Right, this whole mission could definitely be done more efficiently with less delta V if I was a better player. But, you know, I'm me, so I just kludge along with what poor little skills I do have. Oh god, yes. FDR's such a good idea. That was such a good idea. I had the lovely experience earlier of being an Asashio. One of the, 3 games I played today? 4? One of them was a game where I was in the Asashio. It was a tier 10 game, and the only team had an FDR. So that was fun. Because guess who they came for over and over again? I basically had to hug my allies for most of the match, which entirely negated the point of me being there. It wasn't too bad because he kept coming for me with his dive bombers, which are not optimal for trying to hit a destroyer, but even so, he still chunked a good few thousand off me. What? Yeah. Is the box not comfy anymore, Sam? Meh, meh, meh. Meh. What are you after? I don't know if you can hear the meowing, but anyway. Is it this by any chance? Is it the bag of treats? Oh, I know, I never feed you, do I, Samuel? Oh, poor you. He's starving to death, chat? Starving to death. I can see his little rib cage. Oh! Oh, poor kitty cat. Come on. Look, up here. Yeah, here. Yeah, they're there, Samuel. You just have to trust me. Come here, you hairy idiot. Come here. Come here, look. Oh. Bickies. The bickies are on the cat bed. Cats. Anyway. Oh, no. There we go. That's not a bad view. The visual mods do go a bit wonky sometimes, but other times they look very nice. Anyway, so that has only put us part of the way there, apparently. But we can do a short burn, which will put us the rest of the way. It should do. Somehow that wasn't very precise. The real question is, I don't know if I'm going to have enough Delta V when I get there. I really don't. Was that not... Do you need more, Samuel? Do you just always need more? Because you're a poor, starving little kitty cat. He's a poor, starving little kitty cat, you guys. Right. Now we can make sure we are going to pass by very close. Oh. So this thing is way out there. What? Did you think you missed one? Did you think you missed one? I don't think you did. No, see, there's nothing down there. Oh, poor you. Poor little deprived kitty cat. Right, sometimes with Mechtab you have to... Did it do it already? I think it did it already, actually. Did it? No, okay, maybe it's... Maybe it's fine? Maybe? Don't know. Right, it's a good thing I added extra life support because it's 3 days just to orbit back to Kerbin, apparently. So definitely more life support was... It's back in the box. Was needed. Is the comfy bed just not good enough for you? Weirdo. Right, so this is the part where we see if we have enough to match velocity or if we have to just do this very, very quickly. Oh, right, we do have enough, but do we have enough and then enough to deorbit to get our Kerbal back? Right, I'm going to drop a quick save. We're going to save scum the hell out of this. We're absolutely going to save scum the hell out of this. Because that will give us not a lot of Delta V left in terms of taking our boy back. Oh, well, it could be a girl Kerbal Naught. Obwell doesn't really tell me much either way. But this capsule has about a month. With the extra I added, it's about a month of life support. Life support definitely makes things a bit more spicy. Gives you some hard time limits. Right, so there's the capsule there. Well, basically we have to catch up with it. Hey, Hildebrand! And spacewalk over before Obwell suffocates to death. Although that is still a fair distance away. We haven't started the clock on Obwell's life support though. Gosh, how do we get closer? Or do I just spacewalk from 9 kilometers? That is a fair old spacewalk. But you know, it's doable. Right. Well, the real question we can try right now actually is no, we would not have enough to actually... Oh. Still not enough Delta V. God damn it. It's all been for nothing. So we need about another... How much was that? 500 or 600? Also, it is a good thing I did all that life support. Yeah, we about, no, not even that much. I mean, that would give us a margin, but so we need about another 300 or 400 Delta V. Not even that much. Get a Kerbal out and push. That is an option sometimes, but sadly, the Kerbin's RCS packs doesn't have that much RCS. So, even if we did spacewalk across 9 kilometers distance, I came so close, but not close enough. So close! God damn it. Right, what do I want to do with this? How do we squeeze more Delta V? Even more Delta V? How do we squeeze even more Delta V into this thing? So that needs to be over 10k delta V, basically. I think if we can make the launch stage more oomphy, more oomphy, yes, then that would help. Because then if we use less delta V from this stage in actually circularizing, that should do the trick. More boosters. I could do a very silly thing. What is it, cat? Yeah. Like, what if I... what if I put boosters on the boosters? Or would that be too silly? Of course, we could up the number of asparagus stages. That would technically be more boosters. Oh. That's probably the simplest. No, game. That's not what I wanted to do. Cats! I see you. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Come on. Cats. Just, you know, cats. Right, so we had 4. Can we cram 6 in there without it looking completely silly? Yes. And once we asparagus stage that, it'll be probably ludicrous amounts of delta V. It's also a substantially more expensive rocket, but it's probably going to be paid for by the contract. Probably. I didn't even notice there's different variants of the fuel line. It'll be fine. Right, we're now... Oh, okay, now I'm going to have to sort out the... I think there used to be mods that would do this kind of automatically for you, but I don't know how reliable they were. So those 2 there, and then those 2 are the last... No, I've done that wrong. That one wants to be there. That one wants to be there. So we've got that pair, and then that pair. Right. Sam! What? He was fed less than 2 hours ago, and he's had treats. But, you know, he's not going to let a little thing like that stop him. This is what I get for having a feline co-pilot. Right, have I done that right? I think I've actually not done that right. What? So that pair drops first, and then we want that pair, and then that pair drops last. Okay, that's the correct order. Okay. Sam, don't you do it. I'm trying to dissuade him that computer cables are not things to be played with, but he's not convinced. Right, that's over 10k delta V. And I wonder if we could maybe even slip a little bit more delta V in this top stage as well. Classic FTL 200 completely seems out of place with the rest of them though. Even more delta V. So much delta V. Good lord, can you imagine how much it's going to take us to get to the mud and back? Right. Staging. What's the staging? Staging should be fine, apart from that. That's in the wrong place. Right, rocket engines are all in the right place. Those are in the right place. So that stage, and then that stage, and then that stage, and then those two are fine, and then our parachute, so that's all good. Cats. I mean, part of it is just that A, I'm really bad at taking off manually at anything other than 0 degrees inclination. I don't know what it is about the way the controls work with the nav ball, but my brain cannot handle it at all. And I just end up veering wildly off where I want to be and crashing horribly into the ground. So, hence always having to launch into orbit and then make any inclination changes. At least if I'm doing it myself. Once I get the ascent guidance thing unlocked for MechJeb, I can actually have it launch into inclinations that I want it. Cat? No. No. Sam? No play with cables? No. No. Oh. There's the first stage. Sam! No! He keeps trying to pull the webcam down. Or looking like he's going to, anyway. Ah! No! Ah! Sam! No! Come on, out of there! Oh! That went a bit boom. Hopefully nothing important. Don't think it was. Come on! Out of there! Yes, you! Come on! Yeah, you. You're a butthead. I definitely don't like you. It's all lies. Yeah, he's so malnourished and ill-treated that he has to eat cables for sustenance. Poor cat. This is a very long rocket. Oh, it's the wrong key. There we go. I could even have put Separatrons on those, and I might do if I revisit this design. Look, here, play with the thing. If you hear little tick-tick noises in the background, I've put his laser toy on. Because he's a spoiled cat. No matter what he says. And gets fancy cat toys sent as presents from my mum. Right, our TWR's not, like, even with this beefier engine, our TWR's only just crept up above 1. Oh, it's because I've given over... It won't start firing until it's actually on the node, so I might screw this up. We'll see. In terms of using most of the upper stage to circularize, though, I mean that part has worked out. He's currently watching a little red dot go around the carpet. I don't know if there's enough. Hang on, can we just about see him? My chair's a bit in the way though. Oh, that's a stack separator. So that's just one that has that kind of open cage style. Right, yes, we are now below 98 kilometers, so yes, we've screwed this up. Right, I'll try that again. I think that was entirely on my launch. I don't think that's the craft itself. I think that was me. That's a lot. Was it that loud last time? Maybe? It might just be loud because it's so many rockets. You can't quite decide. Like, sometimes he chases it like mad, and other times he just sits and watches it go round. If I was being slightly responsible. I probably should have put some parachutes on those, though it wouldn't practically make any difference in terms of physics range and all that, but yeah. I think there are mods that let you, if you put parachutes on things, it can consider them to have been recovered. Cats, not ridiculous at all. Oh. Okay, had a bit of a freeze for a second there, I don't know why. Let's get over to about 45 degrees. I think I healed over too far last time, so it was the rate at which the apoapsis was climbing was not fast enough relative to my own altitude. And therefore it had way less time to swing around and actually start our orbital injection burn. So almost ready to dump our last stage. Those things are just, with the blunt fuel tank nose cone things, they look weirdly torpedo-like, or is that just me? Rocket torpedoes, that's a thing, right? Right, let's cut engines there, and let's see, let's just throttle up right now. There we go. Hey, sometimes a rocket's just a rocket, you know? See, now you've maybe had a thought, Ralak, of, like, you know, there's all these other games that have adult mods for them, so, because of course. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to discover that there was for KSP as well. Rockets where, you know, rockets mods where you just, you know, build rocket parts that end up looking like actual giant thingies. The Austin Powers scene. That's still a very funny scene. Hot salty nuts! And so on and so forth. And it just kept going on and on. God, now I want to watch Austin Powers. I haven't watched that in years. Right, we should get some kind of orbit this time and not sink back into the atmosphere prematurely. I was thinking I'd get multiple things done this stream, but no, it's just this one mission I keep trying to do over and over and over. But this is how I play KSP, I guess, so, you know, the magic behind the curtain, it's not so magical. What? Right, we'll preserve really most of our upper stage, our final stage Delta V as well, so that's hunky-dory, that's what we want. It's really a pity there aren't more mods that let you research and do upgrades to vehicle parts, because I think that's a thing that was intended for the base game, and then I think they just never did it. And then there's only one mod that I know of that actually has that as a feature. Anyway, we're nearly there. Less than a minute of burn time remaining. Is that going to be enough to keep us clear of the atmosphere, though? I hope so. I really hope so. Right, we'll kill the node because we need to keep burning for a little bit longer. Oh, this is going to be cutting it mighty fine. 72, 80, 83. Come on. 2 kilometers left before we fall into the atmosphere. 91. Oh, no, that way. A bit more that way. 95. So close, come on! Right, we are just so very, very close grazing the top of the atmosphere right now. Right, what has this done to my remaining Delta V? I can't even remember how much I was going to need now. Right, we're just basically going to very slightly dip in. Well, we did very slightly dip in. Enough for it to still count as a suborbital. Right, last time it was like less than 100 meters to circularize. This time it's going to be a heck of a lot more, but we'll just try it, I guess. We only needed, at the end of it, a couple of extra 100 meters, like 300 extra meters of Delta V to deorbit. That was all it was going to take. Well, the reason why the apparatus has been pushed out so much further this time. But that might make our inclination change a lot less expensive, actually. I guess we'll see. That ever elusive red dot, hey Sam. Just keeps escaping you somehow. Right, so that is a relatively wide orbit. Yeah, that is actually, because we're further out, that's going to be a rather cheaper overall intercept. But are we going to have enough delta V left at the end of it? That's going to be... I think so! I think we will. We'll have about 1,000 meters a second left over when this is done, and then it was about 500 to match the velocity, so we could actually make the crew transfer. So this should do it, finally, after 2+ hours. I should name it the hand cam. Where are you anyway, Cat? Right, so this is going to take about... Yeah, this is quite a long burn. It's not a low power, a high power engine, this especially, but it is a relatively efficient engine. If you're wondering why it doesn't quite look like the stock engines, this is, I think, is it restock? It retextures a bunch of stock parts. See you, Foo. Yeah, well, if you push it over, it will stop. If you push it over, of course it will stop, you fool. Cats. Just smart enough to be dangerous sometimes. I think it's intentionally designed so if it takes any kind of knock, it just stops. So he's not yet figured out that if he keeps knocking it and pushing it over, it stops. So apparently pattern recognition is not one of your particular strengths. Is it, Samuel? Yeah, you've killed it. It's dead now. Yeah, killed it. Let's get a new one. Look, go back in your box. Got a nice comfy box there. How about if I put some treats in the box, or will you just... Oh, you want on my lap? That's not really going to work for me, Sam. Or is it you're on my lap because I've got the bag of treats? I think that might be it. He's eagerly helping me. Meow. You're eagerly helping me, aren't you? Ah! Ow! The claws. Right, there you go. I have to reposition the cam now, aren't I? Oh no! My shameful painting supplies. I got it there just in time. Way to block the action there, Samuel. Good job. Hopefully I'm slowly training him to associate me streaming with treats. Maybe. I don't know. That may be a good or a bad thing. Right, just like last time, it's putting us a bit short of where we want to be, and I'm not 100% sure why. If I use this tool instead, will we get any better results? Oh, perhaps. What? No, that's it. Please, sir, may I have some more? Your little Samuel twist, aren't you? It's a Dickensian cat. Poor neglected kitty. Look, this isn't... You can't go on my lap right now, Sam. It's not going to work. But you are fuzzy and nice. Yes. Right, I hope this will do the trick. Maybe? I think we're going to have to repeatedly use this tool. What are you doing? So cats bit weird, you know? A little bit. Tiny little bit weird. No, I know, Sam. I'm the weird one. You're the normal one and I'm the weird one. I know, I know. I had it the wrong way round there. So yeah, I think 500, if we get there, we've got about 500 delta V left once we've matched velocities. Although we seem to keep having to do these little incremental burns. I don't know. Is this actually going to be the closest? Maybe if I try and set it like super close. Is your cat a snorer then, Brett? I have to say, thankfully Sam isn't. What are you doing? Not how box works, Samuel. There we go. He is at least an endless source of entertainment. I almost said free entertainment there, but no, definitely not free. Right, maybe if I try adding a manual node in here? I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, though. She snore squeaks. That sounds quite adorable. You've got a bit of schmutz there, Sam. Yeah, you're a bit schmutzy. That's one downside of having a fluffy cat, is he does tend to get stuff stuck in said fluff. Right, I hope I'm doing this right and not just wasting fuel. We want those markers to match up, right? I think. God, I'm so rusty at this! Right, I think it's... I'm just clicking the button and hoping it does what I want to do. I'm so good at KSP. See you, Brett. You'll be able to catch the end of this on YouTube, probably. My local recording is fine and doesn't snafu itself. God, anyone that actually knows what they're doing in KSP watching me do stuff, it's probably going to be painful. Right, let's warp ahead a bit. Just keep fine-tuning our approach. Oh. They were actually slightly going beyond, but we'll see. Oh, that's why it's giving me the 2 markers. So it's the second. So that's going to be 530 at that second marker. That's what we want it to be. So, okay, that's why it had those 2 node things. It's taken me that long to realise it, because I'm just a genius. Apparently. That's the thing that's been confusing me. But as long as these 2 match, that's fine. Let's see if we can see where there it is. Right, that's even further away this time. Right, I think that's a bit too far for a spacewalk, to be honest. If we were exiting a capsule where the Kerbal astronaut had full life support, but they don't. They have at most 5 minutes before they just snuff it. Right, so if I go... click there, we'll be pointed in more or less the right place. Oh, no, apparently not. Oh, we're out of monoprop now as well. So we're now purely just relying on the reaction wheels, but we're almost, like, the fuel tanks are almost empty, so that's fine. Right, that should be getting steadily closer. In 3 days' time, apparently. Separation 6.5 kilometers. Okay, that's doable. 6.5 kilometers is definitely doable. Right, also... I want to make sure the capsule is... there we go, we want the actual thing to be facing the right way. Right, so I'm going to quick save it, and then I'm going to try spacewalking across 6 kilometers. At which point, you know, the moment we switch focus to it, the timer starts, basically. I need some suitably dramatic music, or I would put on some dramatic music, except I can't. Oh, I can't switch to it. I can only switch to it when we're in physics range. Oh, of course, that's right. Right, I don't suppose... No, that's too far away, and this is still our closest approach, sadly. Okay, that was nonsense. I think because we're so close to being... Oh, we're so close, but we're not close enough. Right, do I just thrust gently towards the target? Will that do it? We're kind of matched in terms of velocities. I genuinely have no idea what I'm doing right now. Does it show? That should be us closing the distance. And still maintaining enough delta V to deorbit. I hope. Right, there we go. We're inside range now where it's suddenly going, oh no! Obwell doesn't have any life support. So, there we go. We've got about 2 kilometers to cover. A full tank of RCS fuel to do it with, but yeah. Basically, this is the downside of playing with an EVA life support mod is it doesn't take any consideration of the fact that rescue missions, of course, are just going to be capsules that don't have any life support built in. So yeah. It's fine for, yeah, oodles of monoprop. Right, whoa, we need to slow down now. Whoa! Whoa, okay, we just went shooting way past. Oh god, can we catch up with it? It's fine. It's fine, I just wanted to create some extra dramatic tension. I haven't actually killed any Kerbals yet in this playthrough, surprisingly. If I completely cock this up, this one would be the first. Right, this time we're approaching at a much more sedate relative velocity, so... There we go. That was fine. They came so close to just... Whoa, smacking in. Whoa. That was me ballsing it up. Oh. So close to just smacking into the rescue craft at very high velocity. Which was not really the point. Right. Oh. Board! Yay! We did it! Yay! Hey, Jerry. I actually did it. Oh my god. Now we just have to see if we can get this sucker home. Right, we have got... Well, we can actually do crew report and an EVA report. We might as well do that while we're here. Nab a tiny bit of science. Right, now is the point where we see if we can actually deorbit this sucker safely. Right, there we go. I was scrolling out on the wrong thing there. Right, that would be 3 days. We have got, I think, so much life support. Yeah, we've got like a month of life support. That's fine. Oh, is that enough? Oh, maybe it isn't. We might need to wait till apoapse before we can actually deorbit then. Which is 16 days, and then it's like another 3 days on top of that to get back to Kerbin. I think that's literally all our fuel. Should just about do it. Oh no, that's not far enough. Gosh dang. Can we... Is there any way to get close enough to graze the atmosphere? No, okay, that wasn't the thing I was looking for. I might have balls this up just enough that we don't quite have the Delta V required to bring this Kerbal home. What I could do is I could launch a rescue mission of the rescue mission. Which is kind of, you know, one of the stupidest sentences I've ever said out loud. But bring them in at a close approach and then launch a craft. Launch another one of these. Which would then need far less Delta V to get to it at periapsis, and there would still be enough life support by that point. Rescue mission squared. So basically get to apoapsis and then point retrograde and burn all of our remaining fuel. Wasn't the plan just to send up another shuttle, potentially, Tomato Team? Oh. Right, so if we're only just short, like literally a couple of tens of meters of delta V would have done it. So we ballsed it up just enough to need to launch another rescue mission. Of course. Of course. So it's really a good thing I added all that extra, like that. I mean, it was necessary anyway, but the fact that I added these instead of the hex cans, yeah. We can't even graze the atmosphere and bring our speeds down that way. Right, that's it. That's as good as we're going to get. So essentially, how many days? Another 5 days. I need to launch another one. I could just go way back to the drawing board, but at this point, screw it. I'm just going to launch another rocket. No, we're all out of monoprop, Carrot. We were only carrying a little bit of it anyway. As this wasn't really intended to dock with anything, so it was just a little bit for manoeuvring purposes. Right, so now we need yet another rescue mission. Would that be enough? Probably not. We'll go with overkill, and it's going to be way more expensive, but... oh, that's the wrong thing. I was going to click on the mission thing there. See exactly how much money I was going to get from this contract, and how much I've wasted. So much. Not even counting all the launches I reverted. Right, active missions. Right, I got an advance of 30k and completion bonus of 77k. So I'll still come out with some profit, but I'll have basically cut it by about 2/3. Kerbal on EVA to push against the... You can kind of cheese it if you are very cheesy. I'm not using a mod that limits how much EVA fuel is on board the spacecraft. So basically, you have infinite EVA fuel in your jetpack. I could do that. But that would take a really long time. So, considering the altitude it's stuck at, yeah. So yeah, we'll just launch another one of these. We're still going to come out on top in terms of the actual money made, but yeah. If I was doing it off stream, and having not spent a ridiculous amount of time already on what should have been a simple rescue mission, then yeah, I think I probably would try that. The slightly cheesy method. Now, somehow it's pinging me there's science to be had, even though there's nobody on board to... I can do a crew report when there's nobody on board to... Actually... Okay. Also, the sky's gone a bit weird. I think we're having a little visual mod glitch right now. Hey, Costis! I am gloriously screwing up in Kerbal Space Program. And I'm having to do a rescue mission to rescue my rescue mission. Before that rescue mission runs out of life support. Okay, why is it... Sometimes when I press U, which is the hotkey for lights, why is it changing the rocket sound? Another odd glitch. Oh, Orbiter! I've heard of Orbiter. I think Orbiter's definitely more on the realism side than KSP is. Although you can mod KSP fairly damn hard. Whoa! Hello! Yeah, that was supposed to happen. That was a computer simulation, you guys? It was a computer simulation of the launch, of what would happen if the launch went wrong. Totally. Almost out on the first stage. I really should put some separatrons on this, but it's fine. It's fine. Things exploding when you separate, that's just normal, right? Is this the real thing or is it simulation? I guess we'll find out. It's real until I screw up, and then in which case it becomes simulation. Obviously. It's fine. It's fine. The explosions are meant to happen. It's fine. There's definitely something weird going on with the visual mods right now. This is not how this is supposed to look. Definitely turn over a bit more at this point. Almost out on this final liquid fuel booster stage. So there they go. And then we'll boost to our higher apoaps before we set circularization. Are we... Oh, does it look weird because there's an eclipse going on and the game doesn't know how to handle that? I think there is. I think that's why it's happening, that thing's looking weird. The eclipse is making things go a bit wonky. Right, we need to be a lot less careful about Delta V this time because the intercept is a lot closer. So it's very slowly pushing us down to where we need to be. Very, very slowly. Well, let's just do that. And this game does look quite nice sometimes. Well, especially with some visual mods going. This has turned out to be appropriately Kerbal. A rescue mission for the rescue mission is about as Kerbal as things can get. SpaceX is being pretty Kerbal. I suppose they are, really. So the plan is we basically get this thing to where it's going to intercept this thing, and then we just promptly deorbit it from that point with all of the ridiculous amounts of Delta V that we have. And then the other rescue craft is just going to be up there being litter, I suppose? Space litter, yes. At least this time we're doing a spacewalk without the urgency of having absolutely no life support left. I wonder if the atmosphere will start looking more normal, or if it is just glitched separately from the fact that there's an eclipse happening. I don't know. How long has Sam been in the box already? He's not been in the box the entire time I've been streaming, but for a pretty good portion of it. I almost wish I could have the camera mounted up higher somehow, but I don't have that. I don't know, I'd need to literally fix a shelf to the wall. Or something. Anyway, we're approaching our cutoff point. So there we go. So we have oodles of delta V, so it should be more than enough to rendezvous with our target craft. As you might infer from the crackle there, I don't actually have a complete comms net or anything like it set up yet, so a couple of the satellites I've put up do have relays, but yeah, there's nothing like comprehensive coverage quite yet. Right, there we go. So we've got ourselves into a circular orbit. Would I be able to get Starlink? I don't think like upload speeds are my limiting factor. So I don't know if the upload speeds available from that would be worthwhile in terms of taking on an additional expense. Like, if it'd be better than my current internet, then sure, even though the ping would be worse. At which point I'd probably need both, but yeah. Right, so we're going to end up with a really wild looking orbit to try and right, do we want to do that separately? Would that make things easier? I think it probably would. We'll do that. It's an expensive maneuver, but we have a lot of delta V. Well, this close to Kerbin anyway, it's a very expensive maneuver. I should do Tomato Team. Maybe I should have quick saved before I started this. I had a quick save just now, so I can come back and cancel it quickly if need be. Rescue mission for the rescue mission, indeed. Well, then things would just be even more Kerbal. Right, while that's doing that, I need to get myself some more water because I ran dry a little while ago. Right, yeah, that really isn't a particularly high thrust engine, is it? But you know, there are even less high thrust ones than that. I think we've got loads of time before we have to. Yeah, that's only just past its apoapse, so it's fine. Right, nearly there. And then that should make for a much cheaper. There we go, 1600. One that's not going to end up with very. Well, actually, what we could do, what would be more sensible, rather than just hitting that, is actually bring our. Plays games on his landline but uploads the stream satellite. Yeah, I'd be forced to do something like that then, basically. But it's how much more expensive it would be, kind of thing. Right, that is very, very close. So we basically want that. I've probably done this in a very inefficient order. Like, it might have been cheaper going out to the correct distance first and then doing the plane change. That probably would have been a lot cheaper in terms of delta V, actually. Did I mention I'm a bit rubbish at this game? Right, that would be another 300, which would leave me with about 1800. Actually, do we even need to... hang on. Oof, the velocity matching, that's going to be actually really expensive. More than I counted on, apparently. Right, I don't... Is this going to work? I don't know if this is going to work. Let's go back to that quick save and quickly cancel that. I think I've ballsed this up in somewhere along the way. Right. Can actually be very precise and... Well, that'll be... Right, let's do that. Circularize and then make the inclination change. We'll try it that way around. Because the further out I am, the cheaper it ought to be. And next time I'm just going to stick to easier rescue contracts, I think. Because this is a whole lot of faff to rescue one Kerbal. Although it would be easier if I were better at the game, probably. Right, so we're circularizing at the periapse distance. Well, let's see what kind of delta V cost it gives for a intercept maneuver from here. I might just... Oh, I don't even know. I might even just need an even bigger rocket. I always be thinking, oh yeah, this will be. Oh, that's which planes? There we go. Yeah, that's fair whack cheaper than it was. I may end up just giving up for the evening, frankly. This is all taking way longer than I thought it would. God, what time is it even now? It's got to be getting on a bit. Nearly 11, okay. Right, so that's a long-ish burn. How is it I can do crew reports when there's no crew? Who knows? Magic. It's magic. I think I'm going to have to start designing craft that I can refuel in orbit. I'm definitely going to make some kind of refueling station, I think. Right, so in theory this is about 3 to 400 more delta V than I had previously. Just from changing the order in which I did things. Right, that still leaves me a fair chunk short though. I don't think this is the rocket to do it. I think I need even more delta V for this rescue mission. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I can't even revert to launch now. Okay. I think I'm gonna bring this down and I'm gonna give up for the evening and we could manage just for shits and giggles. We'll see what happens if I do the target transfer, and if nothing else, it'll be putting it in a craft with fresh life support supplies. We might literally need a rescue mission for the rescue mission for the rescue mission. It might come to that. Well, actually, why would it be putting the closest approach there? Hang on, would that even... Let's let it do it, and I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens. We've still got to get close enough for match velocities for the Kerbal Naught to transfer over. Because if they just go flying past each other very quickly, that's not much use. There's only a couple of 100 meters delta V in the EVA packs, which is way more than they have in the EVA units in real life. But yeah, even as generous as it is. I might literally off-stream try the cheesy EVA thing, just keep going in and out. And see what happens. Using the infinite EVA fuel to... well, infinite in the sense that you just go in the capsule and it replenishes magically. Right, is it just going to laugh at me if I want it to? I think it might. Yeah, there's no way we have enough. Right, okay. Let's just bring this capsule down and I'll go back to the drawing board and then also wrap up the stream. Because it's been over 3 hours of this nonsense now. I am so bad at KSP apparently. Right, retrograde. Let's just bring this sucker down. And of course, this counts as now an actual launch. I can't just regress to the launch pad. So this is even more money wasted. I'm so good at KSP. So very, very good. Also, hey Bobbles, how long have you been lurking? Yeah, basically this is me taking on a rescue contract that was way out here and then discovering that the craft I built, I kind of balls things up slightly, so I was just short on the amount of Delta V needed to get back. So then I was like, okay, I'll just send another rescue craft, and you can tell how that's going. You can, I think, definitely tell how that's going. Yes, G dinner. Hey, you get to see this thing in re-entry at least. Hey, you know, next time somebody gets themselves stuck all the way out, like literally beyond the orbit of the moon, I'm going to be like, nah. Nah, you're alright, you can stay there. So unlike stock KSP where you can get away from coming back from orbit with no heat shield whatsoever, at 3.2x you definitely need a heat shield. Well, I say from orbit, from low orbit, from low Kerbin orbit. We might as well recover this because there is a tiny bit of science in it. That's getting quite toasty. It's a pity it doesn't give you an actual temperature gauge. That could be quite fun. Oh, I should also remember to change that so I can tell the true level. That was a really nice added feature, the ability to switch between sea level and true terrain level. Oh, and for anyone wondering, this isn't the absolute most up-to-date version of KSP. This is the prior version. The very latest version has the ability to add things in on the fly, like solar panels and other structures, which mods have kind of let you do for a while. There was the Kerbal Attachment System mod and Kerbal Inventory System. And they kind of sort of added an inventory system already for the Kerbals themselves, and they did that with the placeable science experiments, but they've now taken that a step further. So yeah, they've been gradually incorporating some of the more interesting mods. I mean, all the robotics stuff was basically from mods once upon a time. It was the only way to have stuff like hinges and whatnot. Right, so we didn't even really need that much of that, but that's fine. Do we have a jettison for that? I don't think we do. I don't think this is one we can jettison. Some heat shields you can, some you can't, depending on whether they're from things or not. Also, do we have... Oh, we don't have any control at the moment. Do we not have any radio signals? So I can't deploy the parachute? I guess we don't have line of sight to any... We do have an antenna on it, it's just... yeah. So this is going to smack into the ground and go kaboom, and we're not even going to be able to recover the capsule. Oh well. I didn't even think of that, but never mind. It's going to smash into teeny tiny pieces. That's probably why I can't detach the heat shield then, why it doesn't have that option. Coming down over land or ocean? I think we're coming down over ocean. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was 30-odd thousand Kerbucks down the drain. I'm very good at this game. Honestly, no, I am. Really, no, truly. It's entertaining and that's what counts. Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. Much, far too, definitely kind. Right, so... yeah, that was all a bit of a waste of time. It's just practice, Ralak. And honestly, like, there are people that have really put the time into this game and it absolutely shows, and I am not one of those people. So, at some point I'll figure out a way to rescue poor Obwell here, but don't think it's going to happen tonight. I really had to think about that. So, yeah. Short of getting out and pushing, there's not much else left to do at this point, so I might try that off stream. I suspect that's going to be a very tedious process. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. So, I'm going to wrap things up there then. So let's... is that the right screen? So let's find somebody to give a host to.